That's the point. Winners
Ladies and gentlemen, I have just one thing to say to you. Hello, winners! I'm Leah Danaev, publisher, proud to be the publisher of the hometown papers and website and social media. And I'm here to wish you all good evening and to welcome you. Isn't it wonderful to be number one? There's only one number one. Yeah, give yourselves a hand. And to know that you are number one, not because your mother said so, or your friends and relatives, but most importantly, since we're all in business together here, your customers are the ones who make you number one. It's wonderful to be appreciated. I'd just like to get the most important part of this out of the way first. First, like to introduce Kara Hahn. Where are you, Kara? Who came there. Kara is our Deputy Presiding Officer of the Suffolk County Legislature. And to say thank you from my heart to so many people. The Lessings, who are having us here tonight, George Kowal, I knew I wouldn't do this right, Kowalo. Yes, thank you, George. And Dan Lafitte. To the Ward Melville High School saxophone players, whose town is awesome. To Ryan Shaw and Bev Tyler, who are taking care of both the video and the still photos tonight. Ryan and Bev. To Laura Mastriano, who did a wonderful job as our event planner, getting this all together. And an incredible thank you to Meg Malangon and to John S. Keisel and to, please stand up. It's like herding cats, and they are the ones that did it all. Meg particularly, who tabulated the results and went over them and over them and over them and made sure that everything was correct. So those are the heartfelt thank yous. Now I wanted to tell you a business joke because after all this is a business audience. And I found it very hard to find a business joke, which to me means business is no laughing matter. But I did find one, and I'll tell it to you, and you can tell me how you feel about it. So James dies, and he's lived a very good life, and he goes up to heaven, and St. Peter waits for him and meets him at the pearly gates and says, "Look around. Do you like this place? Would you like to stay?" And James looks around and says, "Yeah, it looks pretty nice to me." And then St. Peter says, "Would you like to see the other one?" And he says, "Well, okay, I'll take a look." St. Peter says, "Good, because I like you to make up your mind. You know you have two choices." So they walk together to the elevator, and St. Peter pushes the down button. James gets in. The elevator descends. The doors open, and James is astonished to see this most marvelous scene. There's music, there's strobe lights, there's dancing, there's copious food, there's all kinds of drinks. It just looks like everybody is having a wonderful time. Gets out of the elevator, there's a greeter there, leads him around, shows him everything, says, "What do you think? Would you like to stay?" James looks around, says, "You know, I think maybe I would." Well, the greeter says, "Go up and tell that to St. Peter." Walks him back to the elevator, they go up, he goes upstairs, up the elevator. St. Peter is waiting for him as the door opens. He says, "What do you say?" He says, I think I would like to go down there. St. Peter says, okay, we'd like you to have a choice. And if that's your choice, then we wish you luck, go ahead. Puts him back in the elevator, pushes the down button. The elevator goes back down. The door opens, and the scene is quite different. There's heat, there's sulfur, there are rocks, there's no music, there are no beautiful women. It looks horrible, just the way you would imagine. What happened, says James to the greeter. Well, the greeter says, before you were a prospect, now you're a customer. That was the only business joke I could find. So it's a good segue, because speaking of customers, you must make them think you are the very best and that they are in heaven dealing with you, because they are responsible for your being here. Last year, we started a contest. We divided business into 84 different categories, more or less. We listed all those categories, and we put a line, an empty line, next to each category. And we ran the entry form in the newspapers, and we asked our readers to put in their favorite business in each category. We also told them that while we were advertising the contest on the web and on our social media, the only place they could get an entry form was in the newspaper, because we wanted them to see everything they were missing if they were just reading us online and not reading the newspaper. And we asked them to mail in the entry form once they had filled it out. And so that's how we got the nominations. We ran the entry form for 2 months, and we waited and hoped to see what would happen. And we were very gratified to find that we had 2,525 nominations. So this isn't just a little contest that you won. I'll just say that in making the contest the way it turned out, it really did make several points, and very effectively. First of all, retail is not dead. Retail is very much alive, and all of those people who entered your names they're aware and use your services. Retail lives. Secondly, newspapers aren't dead. Obviously, people read the newspapers, or we would not have gotten so many entries. And thirdly, the U.S. mail is not dead. People are saying that there won't be any U.S. mail in a few years. Well, certainly isn't dead yet. After we got all of the nominations, we tabulated them very exactly, and we listed the winners, as you may recall, in a supplement that was a tribute to shopping locally. It was a preferred list of businesses to shop in that we published in the middle of December, just before the holidays, hoping to stimulate further business to your shops. And I hope that it worked. I hope that it brought you more business. The message of shopping locally can't be demonstrated enough. That's what will keep us all alive. So here's the procedure that we will follow. I'll call your names by category alphabetically, and I have to apologize in advance for anything I do to slaughter your name. I'm very attuned to having names slaughtered. With a name like Danaev, you can well imagine what I've been through. It's my husband's name, I always try to tell everybody, but nonetheless, it's mine too. And I remember well the person who first called me Leah Dunfluffy. So I will call your name, and then I will ask you to please come up and say your name so that everybody knows how to pronounce it correctly. And then talk to us for a minute or two and tell us about yourself or your business or how you got into the racket you're in. I always wonder how people get into the business they're in. What path brought you to that? And then if you go on for more than a minute or two, I do have a hook. After you finish speaking, we'll give you a certificate proving that you're number one, and we'll ask you to step in front of this very nice step and repeat background where Bev will take your picture. And when you're on the way up here, we purposely rented a red carpet, as you can see, so as you would come up to the podium, please feel special as you're walking up the red carpet as number one. The video that we're taking as you're speaking will appear on our website for the next couple of months with a menu so that if people want to see just you and they don't want to see everybody else, they can just click right to your time. And then the pictures that we're taking will appear in the newspaper and also on the web. So we're going to make sure that everybody knows that you are really and truly number one. At the conclusion of the awards, you can have dessert. You will have earned it, having sat through the whole procedure. And of course, you're free at any time and all the time to cross-pollinate and exchange ideas for business and otherwise get to know your neighbors and your colleagues. It's a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you for coming.